I'm Greg Simmering.
Hi, Greg.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Here's my resume.
Thank you. Have a chair.
Thank you very much.
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I am 23 years old. I come from Seattle, Washington. I've been coming over here for education at Nyack College for the last 3 years. Been investing my time in international work abroad in Mexico and graphic design and personal procedures and that, videography and photography, as well as leadership and working as crew leader in multiple different environments like a coffee warehouse and a food industry.
So you got a lot on your plate.
I do, yes.
All right. Do you speak any other languages?
I do. I speak, well, in the process of learning it more, but I work and speak Spanish.
Tell me a little bit about your cross-cultural experiences.
Yes.
In a little more detail.
Okay. I've spent roughly 2 years over in Mexico in Ensenada, Baja Cali area, which is about an hour and a half from the San Diego border, doing international work for education, building homes for the less fortunate, and providing health care, including eye and then physical care, as well as traveling to the southern tip of Africa, traveling around all there, doing peoples and culture education, trying to learn about the apartheid and Nelson Mandela. That was through Nyack College. As well as just last week I was in Spain shooting a promotional video with a anti-sex trafficking organization that's trying to bring more volunteers and workers in to help this epidemic. So.
In your travels, how do you approach a new culture? How do you show you're sensitive to their culture?
I like to start out, well, I personally like to do research on my own to understand the culture I'm entering into. Luckily, I have experienced a lot of Spanish-speaking cultures and their kind of straightforwardness, so that has been an enjoyment of mine, being able to be myself in front of people and not be very reserved. But going to like Spain, it's Spanish-speaking, but it was European, so that was a different experience of knowing that they are like, I worked in third world countries and that was like first world, so that was a different experience for me. So understanding that you need to observe the culture and then apply the things that you see occurring in that, and one being when to speak out, when to talk, how to be reserved, how to eat. So those have been all things that I've learned while studying abroad. Or
what challenges you the most about other cultures?
In Asian or Oriental-based cultures, being very with elderly, trying to be as respectful and honorable to them as possible while having a very dominant personality. So yes, trying to adapt to all different cultures.
What gives you the most delight?
I love the most when I'm entering into a family's household and experiencing what real life is and being able to be a part of that relationship. Being able to experience how they interact, how they live, and how this family structure is set is very enjoyable.
Oftentimes when we travel or experience new things, our expectations walking in are not the same as reality.
Right.
Can you give me an example of when that's happened to you, and how do you go about dealing with that sudden change?
Yes, I stayed out with it was a juvenile delinquent center, and I stayed out in their facilities, kind of observing the ministry that was going on there, and the way they eat. You definitely have to clear your plate, but unfortunately, they didn't have the biggest budget, and they had to eat food that was at their ready. So having to eat food that was a struggle for me to eat, but knowing that it'd be very disrespectful to not finish what's on my plate because they barely have the decision on what to eat, was tough because I didn't want to disappoint or show disrespect to those who are providing me with a meal. So I swallowed everything I could.
Let's move to the job. Can you tell me what are the work skills that you will bring to this job that will benefit the company?
Yes, I've worked in large teams, organizing volunteers and short-term teams. This ability has taught me, or this experience has taught me how to direct people in the right location, especially being a volunteer coordinator. Understanding and seeing people's potential and their skills and how we place them in the right location to perform the best tasks possible, especially with volunteers who are looking to do their desired work, and even though they're very open, they would like to do something that's going to pay off in the future.
Have you worked with refugees before?
Not directly, but well, in an essence, I have. The churches I've worked with in Mexico are refugees from down north up to Baja California. It's very difficult because they're coming into a location where they're a foreigner too. So being a foreigner and a foreigner working together, it's very unique trying to find this, figure this area out as well.
Do you have any questions for me about Moline or about the company?
I have two questions. One being, is Mali a location where refugees are located, like in a high manner, or is it just a location for a home base?
No, it's a fairly large suburban kind of area that's isolated from the rest of the world entirely.
Okay.
Moline is industrial. Davenport across the river is also at its beginnings in the industrial age, but things have changed a bit. John Deere still is the biggest thing in town.
Okay.
So there are a lot of churches in that area. Unlike the East Coast here, church is a normal thing, and everybody works through their church. So there's a lot of opportunity for placements of people,
right,
both in employment and in having families that will support alongside things like that.
Awesome.
Great little town.
Yeah. Yeah, I went and experienced Buffalo and the high transition of internationals and refugees is very extreme, and I was interested in it. That was the reason for location.
Yeah, Moline is mostly white, but it's very open to having folks come in. So.
And the second question is, where do you see World Relief going in the next 2 years? And how do a new employee fit into that vision?
Well, as a new employee, you'll probably be caught up in the local hustle and bustle, but World Relief also likes to get their people overseas to see both sides of the coin, so to speak. So we have a domestic ministry of placing people and using a lot of volunteers, but we also have an overseas branch that assists in disasters, does all kinds of different kinds of work.
Right.
And we like to get our home-based folks over there to see what's going on there so they can explain it to other people.
Excellent.
Well, it was nice to meet you.
It was very nice meeting you as well.
You go by Greg or Gregory?
I go by Greg.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Take care.